Hello friends, how are you doing? And I hope you really are all having a great time. As you know, this is my favorite line every time I say this, and you must be bugged up with this, right? I mean, till now. Okay. So here we are going to consider very important, human physiology. We all love humans. Yeah, I also love humans, and a particular sect of human. Yes, we all do that, and it's very common and obvious. We should do that. Okay, but many these days many laws are coming and against that. Okay, we are not going into that part of the chapter. We will today talk about human physiology, the muscles. Yes, all about the biceps and triceps. We at this age are very fond of making muscles and all. We will talk about that, what is the mechanism of the muscle contraction, right? There is a lot of effort. According to physics, they say if you contract a muscle, there is no displacement from the initial position, the work done is zero. But biology says no, boss, there's a lot of ATP, there's a lot of energy utilized in the muscle contraction. We'll talk all about that. So, muscle and their contraction is what we are going to do today, and their contraction. Right? Beautiful. Now, before I start this, okay, I think I'll write this a little low because it might not be seen on your screen. This is fine, right? Muscle and their contraction. We might not be aware, there are 639 muscles in a body, very, very important. There are about 639 muscles in our body. We know that, right? And about, 206 bones in our body. 206 bones in our body. We know this. Now, these muscles, they are basically there to contract. They are basically there to bring about some function. These 639 muscles, they are basically there to bring about some function, to bring about some activity. And how does it happen? Definitely by their contraction. But before this, let us see how many type of muscles we have in our body. Yes, every muscle is a cell, and that is called as a myocyte. Yes, every muscle cell is called as a myocyte. Since these muscle cells are long, they are thread-like, so we call them as muscle fiber also. So you might get confused. What is this muscle fiber? Is this different from something called the muscle cell? No, a muscle cell is the same as the muscle fiber. Just because they are long in length, just because they are fiber-like in length, we call them as the muscle fiber or the myocyte or the muscle cell. All these three mean the same, right? So I'll write this. A muscle cell is also called as a myocyte. Okay? A muscle cell is also called as a myocyte. Absolutely perfect. Now we will see that every muscle cell or myocyte or muscle fiber, they are composed of various myofibrils and all. But before this, let us talk in general how many type of muscles are there in our body. The muscles in our body can be categorized into three sections, and they are the striated muscles, right? The smooth muscles and the what? The cardiac muscles. Right? So these are the striated muscles, then they are the smooth muscles, and then finally they are the cardiac muscles. These are the three types of muscles which are present in our body, right? Now, let us see the differences between these smooth muscles, these striated muscles, and the cardiac muscles. We will just see their differences in a tabular form and see what they mean. So, first of all, we will be talking about the striated muscles. Then we can talk about the smooth muscles, and then we can finally talk about the cardiac muscles. Right? So, we can talk about the striated muscles, the smooth muscles, and the cardiac muscles. Now, when we are talking about the striated muscles, why the word striation? Striation means stripes. So, what we see, they have alternate dark and light bands, and hence that gives the appearance of striations. Okay? So, the first point I would like to mention, these appear striated. These appear striated or striped because of presence. These appear striated or striped because of presence of striations, that is alternate dark and light bands. But when we are coming to the smooth muscle, what we will see, these smooth muscles, these do not have striations, these do not have these alternate dark and light bands, and hence they do not appear striated, they do not appear striped, and that is why the name smooth has been given. So, these do not have alternate dark and light band. These do not have alternate dark and light band, and hence appears smooth, and hence appears smooth. Right? Cardiac muscles also show striations, but the striations are faint as compared to the striped muscles. So, these also show striations, but these striations are very faint. Okay? So, these also show striations, but these striations are very faint there. Then talking about the next one, the striated muscle, if we talk about, what will we see? These are cylindrical in shape. These are cylindrical in shape. Talking about the smooth muscles, these are spindle shaped, hence tapering ends, right, hence tapering ends. These, you know, these are cylindrical in shape and hence blunt ends. When we come to the cardiac muscle, what we will see, these are also cylindrical. These are also cylindrical, hence blunt shaped. Okay. Right? These are just two differences. We will talk about them more, you know, all that, you know, whether they are multinucleated and all. I hope you have put this down. Let us talk about more differences between them. So, now talking about the striated muscles, if we see again, these are syncytial, that is, they are multinucleated. Okay, multinucleated. These are syncytial, multinucleated, smooth muscles. These are uninucleated, single nucleus, and these are also uninucleated. These are also uninucleated, right. Quickly coming to the other aspects, the striated muscles, these have abundant mitochondria and myoglobin. Myoglobin is a protein which binds to oxygen, and because of the presence of, you know, the muscles which have more myoglobin will be more red in color. So, when we talk about this, the smooth muscles, this is the fourth point, these have less mitochondria and what, myoglobin. And again, when we talk of the heart muscles, okay, the heart muscles, these will be again having abundant mitochondria and myoglobin, right. The next point, these do not show branching. I will simply write no branching. Next, in the smooth muscles, again these do not show branching, no branching, but when it comes to the cardiac muscle, they are branched. They are branched. No presence of intercalated disc, no presence of intercalated disc, and in the cardiac muscle we will see that presence of intercalated disc. Okay. One or two more functions we will just see. I think this is the seventh one, right? So, these striated muscles, right? These striated muscles, these contract rapidly and tend to fatigue fast, okay, and tend to fatigue fast. These contract rapidly and tend to fatigue fast. When we talk about the smooth muscles, these contract slowly and hence do not fatigue fast, and hence do not fatigue fast. They contract slowly and hence do not fatigue fast. When we are talking about the cardiac muscles, these show rhythmic contractions, okay. They also, do not fatigue, they, keep on, because when we talk about the cardiac cycle, we will see, something called as a diastole, the joint diastole. We will see that the atrium part stays in the relaxation phase for 0.7 second and the ventricle stay in the relaxation phase for 0.5 second. So, majority part of the cardiac cycle where it is going the contraction and relaxation, majority part is relaxing, and that is why it is very important to keep the cardiac muscles working for a longer time. So, we say that these show rhythmic contraction and these do not tend to get fatigued very fast. They keep on working and working and working throughout the life till the time you work, friends, even when you sleep. These show rhythmic contractions. The striated muscles, they control the voluntary movements which we can do. I can move my hand like this, I can blow you like this, all these are being controlled by the striated muscles. So, the voluntary movements. I just take a ball in my hand and start bowling, that is a voluntary movement, yes. But if I have eaten something and there is movement within my stomach, that is an involuntary movement, okay. So, involuntary movement, and my heart is beating for a girl, for someone deep inside, that is cardiac muscles, that is again involuntary, okay. You feel it, but still it is involuntary, not within your control. You cannot control your heart for someone. Can you? If you can, let me know and contact me. Teach me that art and I will be grateful to you, okay. So, again an involuntary action. Involuntary action, right. All this said and done, let us talk about the sliding filament theory, which explains and accounts for the muscle contraction given by Huxley and Huxley, okay. Muscle contraction theory, muscle contraction explained by sliding filament theory, sliding filament theory given by Huxley and Huxley. Okay. The muscle contraction explained by sliding filament theory, which was given by Huxley and Huxley. Now, what does this say? Whenever a nerve impulse reaches a neuromuscular junction, what happens? There will be release of acetylcholine in the synaptic cleft. How does it happen? You know, there will be synaptic vesicles at the axon terminal ending. Now, these synaptic vesicles, they will come infused with the membrane, axonal membrane, okay, and by exocytosis they will release the acetylcholine into the synaptic cleft. So, we will just do this in a flowchart form. When nerve impulse reaches the axonal ending, the vesicles containing the neurotransmitter that is acetylcholine, that is acetylcholine will be released in synaptic cleft, will be released in the neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine, will be released in the synaptic cleft, right. This acetylcholine will bind to receptors on the postsynaptic membrane, will bind to receptors on postsynaptic membrane, which here in this case will be a muscle, which in this case will be a muscle. Okay. The acetylcholine will bind to receptors on the postsynaptic membrane, will bind to receptors in the postsynaptic membrane, which in this case will be a muscle, right. Now, the action potential is generated across sarcolemma, okay. The action potential is generated across the sarcolemma, which will travel inwards, into the axoplasm. I hope you know what is axoplasm, the cytoplasm of the axon, that is the part of the neuron is known as axoplasm, okay, which will travel inwards towards the axoplasm, or we can say the myoplasm. Sarcoplasm is a better word. will travel inwards towards the sarcoplasm and okay, which will travel inwards into the sarcoplasm with the help of T tubules, with help of T tubules. What happens as a result of this? As a result of this, calcium channels in, as a result of this, the calcium channels in the sarcoplasmic reticulum open, in the sarcoplasmic reticulum opens. Okay. As a result of this, calcium channels in the sarcoplasmic reticulum opens and calcium from the inside comes out into sarcoplasm, right. Then what we will see, this calcium will now combine, this calcium will now combine with calcium binding part of troponin, with calcium binding part of troponin, okay, TPC. This calcium will now combine with the calcium binding part of troponin, TPC, and this will remove the troponin tropomyosin complex, right, from the active binding site of the actin where the myosin head will come and bind. So, and this will remove the troponin tropomyosin complex, right, and this will remove the troponin tropomyosin complex from the active binding site of troponin where myosin head, okay, where myosin head will come and bind. Right. This calcium will now combine with calcium binding part of troponin, and this will remove the troponin tropomyosin complex from the active binding site of troponin where myosin head will come and bind. Now, what will we see? the myosin head has binding site for ATP, right? The myosin head has binding site for ATP as well as to the active site of actin. So what will happen? What will happen is the ATP will be hydrolyzed. The ATP will be hydrolyzed, releasing energy, right? The ATP will be hydrolyzed, releasing energy, and this energy will be utilized for the binding of the myosin head with the active site of actin, and this energy will be utilized for binding of myosin head to active site of actin. The moment this will happen, what will happen? The myosin head will bind to the active site of actin and there will be a pass stroke. What will happen? There will be a pass stroke. The actin filaments will move inside, the A band will remain the same, the length of the I band will shorten, and hence the contraction will take place. A very beautiful mechanism I just explained. Let's take a recap of the sliding filament theory. This was given by Huxley, and what we know in the sliding filament theory, that yes, a muscle contraction will take place. How does it happen? Friends? When the moment an impulse comes from the neuron at the muscular junction NMJ, the impulses, okay, these bring about the release of the neurotransmitter called acetylcholine in the synaptic cleft. Now this acetylcholine, this will create an action potential on the axolemma of the muscle fiber. This action potential will go deep inside the muscle fiber with the help of T tubules. This will stimulate the endoplasmic reticulum of the muscle fiber called as the sarcoplasmic reticulum to release calcium ion. The calcium ion will come out into the exoplasm. The calcium ion will see there are so many actin in myosin. It will do what? What it will do? It will go to TPC part of the troponin and okay, it will say let me combine with you. So the calcium will combine with TPC and there you know what happens, the whole of the tropomyosin troponin complex moves, and the moment this active site of the actin is exposed, the myosin head says, oh, now you are free, let me come and combine with you. It uses the energy of the ATP and combines with it. All this I hope you have understood. Any doubts, you can always come back to me to this. And I hope, because this is a very important topic, you should know how this muscle contraction is taking place. In case you know your grandmother asked that her muscle is not moving or something, you can tell her, okay, this might be the problem, maybe some loss of calcium from your body, and you can suggest some calcium Sandoz tablets to her. Okay friends, the time we meet again, a very goodbye from this side. Take care of your health. You are very important to us. Take care of your health and have a nice and great time. Thank you.